Okay, already. This season, we're coaching someone through what so many of us go through.
I'm Alison.
I'm Michelle.
Meet Sophie. She stayed too long, she'll break up, she'll heal, she'll date, she'll spiral. She's you, she's us.
We'll walk with her and you through every phase, from heartbreak to wholeness.
If you're tired of the chaos and ready to thrive in singlehood and in love,
Welcome to season 3. Oh,
So
close.
good.
Recording in progress. Hello, hello, hello.
Usually between 2 episodes, one of us gets up and does something, but here, like, with it literally,
We just went
on and off
right
a minute.
into it. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
We're on
And
a
so
roll.
we're on a roll,
Yes.
but we're going to pretend that time has gone by and that all of this
Yes.
isn't kind of organized. Uh, which, I mean, anyway, no
Yes.
time
No
to waste.
digressing. Yes.
No digressing. No digressing. Making new friends.
Yes. Which,
Yeah. Well, it's,
go on.
so last episode we were talking about reconnecting with loved ones, and then we were talking about there was this possibility that certain friends will kind of just say, "I'm sorry, like you screwed up. I don't have time
Yeah.
for you in my life," which is, and it's, I'm not going to say that it's bad people. It's just it wasn't good friendships. People don't have time and things like that, and it's fine. So, there's making new friends because some friendships didn't survive, but also you've got more time.
Yeah. And I think, again, I was also saying last episode is that you may have started this relationship at one point in your life and ended it in another. And I think, people move on, people evolve, and you either move straight ahead with them parallel or whatever, or you just drift away. You're in completely different places in life. And that's okay. And sometimes you have to learn how to let go of friendships that are no longer serving us or working, or that are just you're too different already. You're in two different places in your life, and that's okay. And I understand that it's very hard to let go of friendships, especially if it's, a long time. But I think especially after a relationship, you now have to understand if you're still that person that was friends with them, if you can still be, and if you need to move forward and find friends that are matched to where you are now in your life.
That, and also, if you have it in the back of your mind that one day you want to meet somebody new, the best way of doing that is making new friends. Because either making new friends is going to lead you to the new person, or one of your new friends is going to lead you to that person. Like, there's just a good chance of it.
Yeah.
So her first question is, where do I even start to make new friends when I just left a relationship and feel isolated? Okay, I think it kind of did, like, the timeline needs to be cleared up here. Sophie's been single for, a good couple of weeks, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks by now. 3 weeks, I think it's been. I think that's a good place to start, of just like you've got over the first hurdle, and kind of, you're not over the relationship, but you're not in that really grieving process. If you are in that grieving process, then it's not the right time to make new friends. You want to put your best foot out there. And, not to say, grieving should take so much time and all of these things, but it's, don't do it the next day. I mean, some people can, some people might, but I think in general, if you want to meet new people, you want to be the best version of yourself. And, in the middle of a grieving a relationship is not the right, time. Some people might, I mean, but we're not talking about the ifs, buts, and maybes. We're not talking about the exceptions. We're talking about as a general rule of thumb. So I think, so Sophie's been single for 3 weeks, and now is a good time to kind of just, get out there and meet new people.
Yeah, I think it's two birds, one stone, because you're getting out there more and you're sort of putting yourself in new situations, or you're just getting yourself out of your head and out of the house and trying new things. And B, you're also meeting new people in these new places that you're going to. And I think that's very important to do while you're, trying to figure yourself out again and who you are without this boyfriend, and how you can just move forward in this new life. meet new people that, again, that matched where you are right now in your life. And when you're, as you said, when you're still wallowing and when you're still like trying to get over it, it's very hard because you have no idea what you want. You're just all over the place, and it's not a very good idea to start a new
Yeah,
friendship when all you're doing is wallowing, and that's what people, the
yeah,
first impression people give you.
yeah. I was startled. I was looking at time. I was like, "What time is it?" Because but I thought it was half an hour later than it is, and I'm just worried for a second. Sorry.
Yeah.
Um, when it comes, so in France, we are kind of the whole of life revolves around the school year.
Yeah.
So basically, unless you want to sign up to a gym, um, when you can sign up to a gym whenever, like if you want to sign up to a club or an activity or things like that, you have to do it in like July, August, and then start in September. Is it the same in
Yeah.
Israel?
Depends for what, but yeah, a lot of places work according to the school. Yeah.
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 It's bound to be. I think it's the same in England. I'm wondering what it's like, in other countries, because you know, where do I even start with making new friends? And it kind of depends where you are in the calendar year. Because if you are there in August and July, then
Yeah.
so easy. Just sign up to a club. Just go out, see what
Yeah.
clubs are out there, and then just sign up. Theatre club or arts and crafts or now that I'm thinking of it, there's a board games club where we live that they
What?
take up new people. Oh, it's so fun. We did it last year while I was still
Sounds fun.
pregnant. And it's that type of thing. And I was just like, I think if it's if it's the summer, then easy. Just kind of look up anything and sign up. But even if it's kind of now in November or whenever this comes out in December, just still reach out to different clubs and see if they're taking new members. And because I also think that if you've signed up, it's kind of scary as well. But if you're the new person arriving, then it's terrifying, yes. But it kind of also people are gonna be interested in you. I'm just like, oh my god,
Yeah.
who's the new person? As you would in high school. But getting over that hurdle will allow you to meet new people because people are going to be, automatically interested in who you are.
Yeah. I think it really depends on how much you're willing to suffer, with quotation marks, like suffer through the awkwardness,
Yeah.
because the awkwardness is always going to be there. And but the thing is, and I always say this because it's always true, is that no matter where you are in the world, no matter how old you are or where you are in your life, there's always going to be at least one other person in your area, in your age group, who's also seeking out new friends. And it might be awkward for them too. And I think it eats the process when you think of it that way. I'm not the only one who's looking for friendships. I'm not going to be like that weird person in her
Yeah.
30s who's like looking for new friends. I think we should also normalize making new friends. I think over here it's very common to have like very, very old friendships from like when you were in school or when you were in the army or when you were, I don't know, like at school, at a university, and all these different like places that you were at. But it's like, life is so dynamic and life moves so much. And, for me, I moved to a small, tiny little village to live with this, where he grew up. And that was a great opportunity for me also to make new friends that live close by and that are living the same lifestyle that I am now. I That's another great way of like living in a certain area or living in this big place. Like look around you at the community.
Mm,
Look around you. Like often it's right under our noses. It's like look outside. Look where you are. Check your neighbors. Check your local church or
yeah.
synagogue. Check, the local community. Go for volunteering in the neighborhood or whatever it is. Like, there's endless possibilities. And
Smile at
all of
people.
these Exactly. And especially with all of these, what's the word for it? Like, I forgot. Like the word is in my head in Hebrew, not in English, but what can you do? Especially with all these like not systems, like these
Communities, organizations, groups.
organizations and groups and things like that, that it's built in. It's not something that you have to make up from scratch. So it's like it's sort of a kind of an excuse, like joining this thing, and then it happened from the whole process.
And no, her second question is, how can I meet people who understand my new phase in life? And like, my answer is going to tie into both and building on yours. Yeah, going into these existing groups and communities and go talk to people and things like that, it's fine. And kind of, I'm the opposite of Sophie in the sense that I'm in a relationship and I've got a child. Like, my phase in life is completely different. I too am looking to make new friends because I'm in a different stage in my life, and and we're not kind of, I have friends who are single and with no children, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't be friends with people who have kids or don't have kids. I'm just saying that you want to be, you want to be on the same wavelength, because my friend, one of my best friends who looks after Teddy sometimes, she's hasn't got kids, and she's still kind of like, should we go out an evening and then go drinking? And I'm just like, well, I can't really do that right now. I'm looking for friends who are happy to go for a play date at from 4 to 5, because that's the kind of whatever.
Yeah.
And so, we're all this to say, one, everybody's kind of always looking for new friends because of different stages in their lives, and that's okay. And so that's how, you want to go to organizations and things like that. And then, how can I meet people who understand my new phase in life? It kind of just like doesn't, I think it doesn't matter, because people don't care what's going on in your life. I mean, really, you care when it's your friends, but when it's new people, they don't really care. It's just like somebody new, because they are just kind of looking to change, just a breath of fresh air. And, you don't want to go into a group when it's, only single women or only mothers or only, gamers or whatever. You want to go into a group where you're just going to be able to talk about different things, and not, if you're single and you're going to go for a group of single women who are revolving their lives around the fact that they are single, then that's not amazing. And then, for example, me, I'm in a mummy group, but we are meeting up because we want to talk about anything else than our kids, and just meeting up for that.
Yeah.
So, who understand my new phase life, nobody cares about what's going on in your life. We just care about doing frivolous things, superficial things of just kind of getting to know each other. And then you'll be building friendships, and then people will start caring about what's going on in your life. But when it's just kind of, broadening your horizons, nobody cares. We just want to kind of think about different shit than our own lives, and not be overwhelmed with drama. Do you think that's fair?
I think so. I as I was going through my own singlehood phase, I was setting up this mentality of, this is a drama-free zone. My life is no longer going to be, an open field for anyone who wants to come in and leave whenever they want, whenever it's good for them. And just like, whether it's relationships or friendships or friends with benefits, this is no longer a free zone. And I'm going to protect it. And, I understand that no one else, like, people have their own shit to deal with, and that's okay. But don't bring your shit into my space, and don't expect me to obviously with close friends, you're gonna deal with each other's shit all the time. But like, when someone's bringing only drama into your life, and when someone's only, stirring up like chaos all the time, wherever they go, I know we'll talk about how you shouldn't, find new friendships right after a breakup. I think that's it, because you're bringing that whirlwind of like emotions of chaos into a new relationship, and that's what it's going to be based on from here on out. And I think, I'm not sure if this is answering your question, but I think you have to be very mindful of that when you're making new friends, and you have to be very cautious not to, like, if you don't want people to come in and start like rattling things, you have to make sure that you're not doing the same. And it's just like, it shouldn't be so difficult, it shouldn't be so hard, and it shouldn't be so heavy. It's just like, go have fun, make it
Yeah.
easy, and, you know,
And
yeah.
I'm looking at Sophie's questions, and I see
Mhm.
I and me a lot,
Yeah.
which is fine
Mhm.
because we are here to help Sophie and, quote unquote, we're her coaches. And so obviously our conversations are going to revolve around her, obviously. However,
Yeah.
when it comes to making new friends, and the
Mhm.
skills to make new friends are kind of really similar to the skills of, a new emotional relationship.
Exactly.
You want to make sure that it's 50-50. And obviously, it's not 50-50 all the time, every day. Even in our friendship, when we're off recording, like sometimes we talk a lot about what's going on in your stuff, and then sometimes a lot
Mhm.
what's going on with my stuff, and kind of bring each other's positives and negatives, and that's,
Yeah.
and your family stuff and my family stuff, and it's kind of,
It balances
it's
out with
it
time.
balances out with time. But at the beginning, you want to be mindful of kind of not overwhelming the conversation with your shit.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
so it's a lot of, yeah, you're going to talk about yourself, because also, I mean, people are annoying and strange and complicated, but people love talking about themselves, but they are also they become wary of people who never talk about themselves.
Yeah.
And it kind of, it goes of just like, oh, I don't know anything about this person. This person doesn't share. This person's not open. So I think at the beginning, you want to kind of really make sure that it's a 50-50, so that people feel like they've gotten something out of it, but they've gotten something out of you, and this and that. And yeah, and kind of, but it's complicated. You want to be yourself, but also kind of be mindful of others, of just letting other people have their space. Um,
Mhm.
it's not easy. I mean, there are so many kind of kids books for kids of like how to make new friends in the playground, and and it's a lot of no hitting and no doing this and no stealing toys and things like that. But you know eh, we need to extrapolate that to adulthood, of how to make friends when you're an adult, because
Yeah.
it's not easy, because we're not all the
Mhm.
same.
I think you're also so much more aware. There's something about kids that is so innocent and so like carefree, and they just don't, they don't see things the way adults do. They don't overthink things the way adults do. They don't, like, they just, I want to have fun. I see a kid my age, you want to play.
Yeah.
And I think as adults, we overcomplicate everything. We
Yeah.
overthink everything. And I think there's something to be learned from children in that sense of like, you look cool. Let's hang out. Let's play. Let's do something. There's a vibe going on. We have similar, interests, or we just, we can get conversation going very easily and keep running for hours. Uh, yes, it's awkward, and yes, it's weird, and yes, it's difficult, and yes, life happens and you're different phases and there's so much going on. But when you really, really want to find a friendship, when you really want to hang out with someone, then you find the way to do it and you find the time. And there's always options, especially in this world. There's so many options. You just have to go outside and look for it. You have to go outside and see it and get over that awkwardness.
Yeah. And that, as usual, ties into the next question quite well, of what are safe, realistic ways to open myself up again socially without feeling pressure? Because you were just saying, like,
Yeah.
adults, we feel, you know, we do feel the pressure. I look at my kids and I just see they don't know that what they're doing is dangerous and risky,
Hmm.
and they're just doing it, and it's my job as a parent to kind of make sure that they're safe. But yeah, it's tough when an adult. And I think, what are safe, realistic ways to open myself up socially? I think, there are people for who getting out there and meeting new people is very easy. Social butterflies.
Yeah.
These are not the people these are not the people listening to this podcast, or these are not the people who are, you know, actively getting something from this episode or this phase at least.
Yeah.
And so to all the listeners who are, you know, feeling pressure, stop comparing yourself to these other people. You know, we're all different. And I think that the best way to deal with the pressure is accept that the pressure is there and it's not going away. Like, you're not going to change who you are when you're 30. You can adapt, you can evolve, but if you're somebody who feels pressure with meeting new people, then you're just going to feel the pressure all the time. That doesn't mean don't meet new people. It just means, you know, learn to deal with the pressure. I think the first, you know, maybe you just sit down, make a list, like, when's the last time I met people? And, you know, I'm still here. You know, I'm alive. I'm,
Yeah.
you know, I'm financially, materialistically, emotionally safe. So even though I did these situations that were scary, I'm still okay now, and I can repeat those. Because obviously, you know, if it were me talking to me, I'd say, just go sign up to a drama club, go sign up to badminton and do this and find a yoga group and find a women's talking circle, because that's me and those are the things that I like. But you're completely different to that. And Sophie's completely different to that. So I think, you know, between you, me, Sophie, JT, Zev, our sisters, our friends and things like that, we can come up with probably hundreds of ideas. But the best way of doing that for you, listener, and you, Sophie, sitting down is making a list. When's the last time I met, you know, who are my friends? Where did I meet them? And I need to reproduce that. I'm not saying that that's going to work, but I'm saying, you know, rebuild, confidence in yourself of getting out there and meeting new people. You know, for example, you and I, we met on Instagram.
Yeah.
And
Crazy.
I know, crazy, and it's 3 years ago.
Yeah, I haven't even met us yet, which is crazy to me, but soon. Yes.
I invited you to Teddy's baby celebration. You invited me to your wedding. Sadly, we can't make either. But
yeah,
but we're meeting each other in April. That's going to be very nice. Anyway.
Yeah.
But if we were taking this example, I'd say, okay, well, last time I made a good friend, it was reaching out to somebody on Instagram because of the professional aspects of it. Then I guess I'd just start there and just kind of see who's interacting with my page and then reach out and have a chat and see what works. It may work, it may well not, but it's just trial and error. Or, you know, another friend I met, you know, a couple of good friends in my theatre group. So I just sign up to another theatre club and see what happens.
Yeah.
Same for Sophie. Just when is the last time you met your friends, and do that again.
Yeah. And I think this is also a good practice in being confident, or good way to help build confidence of like, I know that feeling of like, seriously, she really wants to be my friend, or like, why would someone want to be in my life right now, or all these self-deprecating thoughts of like, you know, it's very hard for us to believe that we are worth it, or that we are worthy of this type of friendship. And I think that sort of, you know, comes with the territory of making new friends, of believing that we could be the ones and believing that we deserve it, and just showing up and knowing that we're great people, and that there's a lot to love, and there's a lot to give, and there's a lot there's a lot of reasons why a person would want to hang out with you, and you do have a lot to give. And I think that's important to also look at, as like, because there's a certain, like, you know, natural instinct that I find myself doing also, like when you do something that doesn't matter good, when you screw up, or when, you know, something isn't going right, we're very quick to say, oh, you're such an idiot, or like, why do you have to be so stupid, or why are you always screwing up, and whatever. But like, why aren't we conscious, why aren't we, like, you know, automatically and instinctively saying to ourselves also positive things, like, you're so amazing, look at you, you know, you have so much to give. Exactly. And I think that's something that, you know, making new friends, that sort of like reminds you to do that, of like, you know, when you're trying to think of like how to make new friends and why someone want to be friends with you, it's like you're sort of, you know, bringing these things up of like, or trying to focus on like the good things that you bring to the table. And I think that's important in the process of like, you know, I have so much to give, and I need to find people who are open and willing to accept it. And they're all not. We just have to go look for them.
Yeah. As we said, like in this episode and the previous, of just like there are always people looking to make your friend. Like you're not the only one, and it's from all walks of life, and so you will find your people. Like, it's kind of like traveling. You just, you will always meet other travelers. Like you're not the first one to decide to go to Thailand and kumbaya on the beach. Like so many people, you will meet them.
Yeah. Well, that's a good place to end another great episode.
And don't forget everyone to like, subscribe, share. Tell us, when is the last time you met someone? Like not a relationship, like when your last friendship, things like that, and we'll see what comes of it.
Yeah. That's the bad recommendations on how to meet new people.
Yay!
Bye
everyone.
Bye.
That's it for this episode of Pop Culture Cupid.
Thanks for hanging out with us. We're glad you're here.
Make sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening.
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Reddit for more behind-the-scenes real talk.
And if you want to support the show, check us out on Patreon.
Until next time, be kind, be happy, be healthy, and remember, heartbreak isn't the end.
It's the plot twist.